Winter has sprung. I'm walking and pondering and thinking and walking. Look behind me, I'm walking on a road. Why do I walk on a road? Well, because it's easier than walking in there. And it's easier than walking in there. Why do I have sunglasses on? Because it's snowing out, it's bright, and it makes it easier for me to see. What do I have a toque on my head, jacket on? Because it makes it easier to be out in winter-like weather. What do I have shoes rather than bare feet? Well, same reason. We humans, we like to make things easier. And we like to make things easier in our thinking, often in our processes. Been talking some recent videos and posting structural issues like systemic racism, sexism, ageism, those types of things. We need structural remedies, systemic remedies, processes. However, we also need to keep the human in the process. And one that I've offered up as a suggestion are the complaints processes in higher education, post-secondary, public sector in general. Probably few tools, processes that could be as strong as complaints processes, and shift them. Call them engagement processes. Call them concerns, compliments, and complaints processes, and keep the human in them. Because to the most part, they're dehumanized. If you've seen a diagram of the idealized flow chart for a complaint I've got, and I'll post a link to it. It's all about boxes, and it's often about the institution, not about the person who's got the concern. And the reason I say that is because what happens around that process. So you're in post-secondary, student has got some concerns, maybe even to the point of wanting to file a complaint, and then they've just got literally boxes to go through on the idealized diagram. And what happens to the person on the other side of that complaint? And in post-secondary, you've got the reality that most of the faculty, 60% plus in Canada, are male. Majority of them are white. Looking beyond that, faculty and prof, to the most part in Canada and post-secondary institutions, are nowhere close to representing students. Institutions are highly dependent on international students and the tuitions they're bringing. That is going to increase diversity of students. It's going to increase the differences in perspectives. Therefore, probably maybe going to have more complaints, or worse, nothing and silence. And that's not going to do. That does not uphold the human, does not humanize the process. It dehumanizes the process. And clearly, post-secondary has some issues on that front. So, set up a wraparound process. Make sure students are supported. Make sure your staff are supported. What happens to a staff member in a complaints process? Or if it's staff complaining about another staff member, you get pandered off to the EFAP program, Employee Family Assistance Program. Valuable tools, not so much in a workplace, especially if two colleagues need to continue to work together. So set up compliments, concerns, complaints, and reparations process. Make sure that the whole process keeps the human. If you're really student-centered, in this day and age right now in our workplace, you gotta be employee-centered. Make sure people are supported in that. I worked in an institution, worked on a complaints policy, and they were steadfast that they were not going to accept anonymous. Well, then ask them, would you accept anonymous compliments? Oh, yes. Well, then why not complaints and concerns? It's an avenue for people to be able to lodge it. Have a look into it. Look into it over time. Humanize the process. Support people to bring their concerns forward. That's what good leadership is supposed to be all about. Right now, complaints processes largely across the public sector, especially higher education, they're not people-centered. They're institution and process-centered. Let's change that. What do you think about this? You have some suggestions? Sure appreciating people that are sending along messages, connecting me up with other processes and otherwise. Leave me a comment. Do you agree? Disagree? Always happy to learn more. Happy winter.